There comes a time in life when you realize that kindness isn't always a blessing. You've given your heart, your time, your energy, and in return you've received broken trust, unspoken gratitude, and an emptiness that echoes louder than the love you once gave. How many times have you silenced your pain just to keep others comfortable? How many times have you stretched yourself thin, believing that if you gave just a little more, they would finally see your worth? But listen to me now. Listen carefully. Not everyone deserves your kindness. Your kindness will sit in scarcity when given recklessly, because this will change your life. Kindness, when given without care, doesn't make you noble. It makes you kinder. Let me tell you the truth that no one else will. Here is what you must understand right now if you want to stop being used. This is where everything shifts. Take these words to heart and you will never be the same again. Not everyone deserves your kindness. You've been told since childhood that kindness is the greatest virtue, that you should always be good to others, no matter what. That if you just keep giving, if you just keep loving, if you just keep being patient, eventually the world will return that kindness to you. But what happens when it doesn't? What happens when your kindness is met with indifference? When your generosity is taken for granted? When your heart is shattered over and over again by the very people you thought would appreciate you? The hard truth is this: not everyone deserves your kindness. There are people in this world who will see your good heart as nothing more than an opportunity. They will take from you your time, your energy, your love, without ever giving anything back in return. They will smile in your face and drain you dry behind your back. And the more you give, the more they will take, because some people don't see kindness as a gift, they see it as weakness. I know that's hard to hear. I know you want to believe that if you just love harder, if you just try a little more, if you just show them the goodness inside of you, they will change. But they won't. Because some people don't want to change. Some people are comfortable using others. Some people don't care how much they hurt you as long as they keep benefiting from your kindness. How many times have you gone out of your way for someone who wouldn't do the same for you? How many times have you helped, supported, or stood by someone only to be left alone when you needed them most? How many times have you been the person who showed up only to realize no one ever shows up for you? It is time to stop being kind to everyone, not because kindness is wrong, but because your kindness should be valued. It should be given to those who deserve it, to those who appreciate it, to those who will cherish and respect it. Your kindness is not cheap. It is not something to be thrown around carelessly, hoping that one day someone will finally see your worth. You are not here to be a doormat. You are not here to be walked over, used and discarded when you are no longer needed. You are not here to give endlessly to people who only take. And listen to me, it is not cruel to stop being kind to those who abuse your kindness. It is not wrong to walk away from those who do not respect you. It is not selfish to protect your own heart, your own energy, your own peace. If someone constantly disrespects you, stop being kind to them. If someone takes advantage of you, stop being kind to them. If someone only calls you when they need something, stop being kind to them. If someone refuses to appreciate what you do for them, stop being kind to them. Because the people who truly deserve your kindness, they won't make you feel drained. They won't make you question your worth. They won't make you regret being a good person. So choose wisely. Not everyone deserves your kindness, but you deserve to be surrounded by people who see the light inside of you and never take it for granted. Kindness without boundaries is self-sabotage. There is a dangerous lie that too many people believe, that kindness should be limitless, that love should be unconditional, that giving should have no end. But what they don't tell you is this: when kindness has no boundaries, it destroys you. Think about it. How many times have you sacrificed your own happiness just to make someone else happy? How many times have you ignored your own needs because you didn't want to seem selfish? How many times have you given to the point of exhaustion only to realize that no one was pouring back into you? If you don't set boundaries, you will be drained, you will be used, you will be left empty, wondering why the world feels so cold, when all you ever did was try to be good. But the problem isn't the world. The problem is that you never protected yourself. You have to understand this. Not everyone values kindness. Some people see it as an invitation to take advantage of you. They see your good heart and assume it means you will never say no. They see your generosity and mistake it for weakness. And the more you give without boundaries, the more they will take, until there is nothing left of you. You can love people and still say no. You can care about others and still protect your time, your energy, and your peace. Because if you don't, no one else will. No one is going to step in and say, "You've given too much. Now let me take care of you." The truth is, most people will take whatever you are willing to give, and if you never set limits, they will never stop taking. But here's the part that hurts the most. When you finally realize you've had enough, when you start setting boundaries, the very people who benefited from your kindness will call you selfish. They will call you cruel. They will try to make you feel guilty for no longer allowing them to walk all over you. But that guilt is not yours to carry. You were never wrong for protecting yourself. The world teaches us to be kind, but it doesn't teach us to be wise with our kindness, and that is why so many good-hearted people end up hurt, exhausted, and resentful. Not because they were kind, but because they didn't know when to stop. You have to stop sacrificing yourself for people who would never do the same for you. You have to stop saying yes when every part of you is screaming no. You have to stop believing that being a good person means tolerating mistreatment. Because real kindness, healthy kindness, has limits. It is given freely, but it is not given foolishly. It is extended with love, but it is not extended at the cost of your own well-being. The moment you realize this, everything changes. You no longer feel guilty for choosing yourself. You no longer feel the need to explain why you're not available for everyone all the time. You no longer apologize for saying no, for walking away, for protecting your energy. Because you finally understand your kindness is a gift, not an obligation. And if someone cannot respect your boundaries, they never truly valued your kindness to begin with. Being nice won't save you from betrayal. You have been taught that if you are kind enough, loyal enough, and patient enough, people will treat you well in return. You have been told that if you always choose love over hate, if you always forgive, if you always see the best in people, then life will reward you with the same kindness you give. But the truth is far more painful, because being nice won't save you from betrayal. Some of the kindest souls have been broken by the very people they gave the most to. Some of the most generous hearts have been shattered by those they trusted. Some of the most loving spirits have been abandoned by the ones they never thought would leave. It doesn't matter how pure your intentions are. It doesn't matter how much you give. It doesn't matter if you would never hurt them the way they hurt you, because betrayal doesn't come from enemies. It comes from the ones you trusted the most. Think about it. The ones who betray you aren't strangers. They are the people you let in, the ones you believed in, the ones you thought would stand by your side. You never expect a knife from behind, and yet it always seems to find its way. You think you're prepared for it, but here's the hardest part. You never expect it. You tell yourself that because you've been kind to them, because you've supported them, and because you've given them every reason to appreciate you, they will never hurt you. But some people just don't value kindness. Some people don't see loyalty as something to be cherished. Some people will take everything you give them and still throw you away when it suits them. You can be the kindest person and it still won't stop someone from lying to you, using you, or walking away when you need them the most. Because betrayal isn't about you. It's about them. It's about their choices, their selfishness, their ability to hurt someone who didn't deserve it. I know what you're thinking. If you try harder, if you love more, if you forgive, maybe they'll change, but they won't. People who betray you once will do it again. People who hurt you and feel no regret will do it again. People who see your kindness as weakness will take advantage of it as long as you let them. That's why you need to stop thinking that being nice will protect you. It won't. You have to be wise. You have to be strong. You have to recognize when someone doesn't value you and walk away before they cause more harm. Because the most dangerous thing you can do is keep trusting someone who's already shown you they can't be trusted. The most painful mistake you can make is believing that your love alone can change someone who's already chosen betrayal over loyalty. I know it hurts. I know it feels impossible to accept that someone you cared for could turn their back on you. But remember this: their betrayal is not a reflection of your worth. Their actions don't define you. Their choices don't mean you weren't enough. So stop thinking that being nice will save you. Stop believing that your goodness guarantees that others will treat you well. Some people will betray you no matter how much love you give them. And when they do, you must not stay. You must not beg. You must not lower yourself trying to prove that you are worthy of their loyalty. Because you were always worthy. They were simply unworthy of you. The world respects strength, not just kindness. You've been taught all your life to be kind, to be polite, to be understanding, that if you just treat people with goodness, they'll respect you. But have you noticed that the world doesn't always work that way? Have you realized that sometimes the more kind you are, the more people try to take advantage of you? Here's the truth they don't tell you. The world respects strength, not just kindness. You can be the nicest person in the world, but if you don't stand up for yourself, people will walk all over you. You can be the most generous soul, but if you never demand respect, people will keep taking from you without giving anything in return. You can be the most understanding, forgiving, and patient person, but if you don't set boundaries, people will push you beyond your limits without a second thought. The world isn't fair. It doesn't automatically reward kindness. It doesn't simply hand out respect because you have a good heart. Respect isn't given, it's earned. And if you don't demand it, the world will assume you don't deserve it. Look around. Who are the people that others listen to? Who are the ones who get ahead, who command attention, who are never ignored? It's not always the nicest people. It's the ones who know their worth and refuse to settle for less. It's the ones who stand their ground, who don't let others push them aside, who speak with confidence and move with purpose. You need to understand that kindness is a wonderful quality, but when it's not paired with strength, it becomes a weakness. If you're kind without limits, people will think they can take from you endlessly. If you're kind without boundaries, people will think you'll always say yes, that you'll never fight back, that you'll never demand better. And once people realize they can take advantage of you, they won't stop. But when you're strong, when you stand firm, when you make it clear that you won't be walked over, that's when people respect you. That's when they think twice before crossing your boundaries. That's when they realize that your kindness isn't something they can exploit, but something they must appreciate. Let me make this clear. Strength doesn't mean cruelty. It doesn't mean being heartless. It doesn't mean shutting out love or refusing to care. Strength means knowing your worth. It means understanding that you can be kind without being a pushover, that you can be compassionate without being a doormat, that you can be giving without letting others take advantage of you. So stop thinking that being nice is enough. Stop believing that if you just keep giving, if you just keep being patient, if you just keep forgiving, people will finally respect you. They won't. Not until you show them that you're strong. The world doesn't respect kindness alone. It respects those who are kind, but are also powerful enough to command the respect they deserve. You teach people how to treat you every single day, in every single interaction. Whether you realize it or not, whether you mean to or not, you're setting the standard for how others speak to you, respect you, value you, and consider your feelings. If you allow disrespect, if you tolerate mistreatment, if you accept less than what you deserve, people will learn that it's okay to treat you that way. People will only treat you the way you allow them to. Think about your past. How many times have you made excuses for someone's bad behavior? How many times have you swallowed your pain just to avoid an argument? How many times have you let things slide, thinking that if you were just a little more patient, a little more understanding, a little more forgiving, they would change? But they didn't change, did they? And do you know why? Because you taught them they didn't have to. You showed them that no matter how many times they ignored you, you'd still be there. You showed them that no matter how many times they disrespected you, you'd still tolerate it. You showed them that they could take you for granted and you'd still come back. This is the hard truth that most people don't want to hear. You are responsible for how people treat you. not because their actions are your fault, but because your response to their actions determines whether or not they continue. If you let someone speak to you with disrespect once and say nothing, they'll do it again. If you let someone walk all over you and still give them access to your time and energy, they'll keep doing it. If you continue to allow mistreatment because you're afraid of losing people, you'll always be surrounded by those who don't truly value you. You teach people what is acceptable. You teach them what they can get away with. You teach them whether or not they have to respect you. If you don't demand respect, don't be surprised when people fail to give it to you. Many people struggle with this because they fear confrontation. They fear losing relationships. They fear being seen as difficult. But what's worse, losing people who don't truly respect you, or losing yourself in the process of keeping them? Because that's what happens when you keep tolerating what you don't deserve. You lose yourself. You lose your self-worth, your confidence, your sense of what is right and fair. You start questioning whether you're asking for too much when all you're asking for is basic respect. You start convincing yourself that maybe this is just how life is, that maybe people will never treat you well, that maybe kindness means putting up with things that hurt you. But that's a lie. That's the lie that keeps people trapped in relationships and friendships that drain them, that keep them small, that keep them in a cycle of always giving, always sacrificing, always tolerating. And that lie will keep you stuck if you let it. But the moment you wake up, the moment you realize that you have the power to set the standard, everything changes. Because the people who truly love and respect you will rise to meet your boundaries. They will not be when you ask for respect. They may take offense. They won't leave when you tell them you deserve more. They won't make you feel bad for protecting your peace. But those who only wanted to use you, the ones who never truly valued you, the ones who are fine with taking you for granted, they will fight against your boundaries. They will push back. They will try to make you feel guilty for changing the rules. But don't fall for it, because those people were never meant to stay in your life. The quicker you stop teaching them that it's okay to mistreat you, the sooner you'll make room for the people who are right for you. So ask yourself this: what are you teaching the people around you? Are you showing them that they must respect you, value you, and appreciate you? Or are you showing them that they can walk all over you without any consequences? You don't get what you deserve in life. You get what you allow. If you want better, if you want to be surrounded by people who respect you, love you, and treat you well, then you need to start demanding it. You must start showing others that if they can't meet your standards, they do not get access to you. You must be ready to walk away. You must be ready to say no. You must stand firm in the belief that you are worthy of more. Because the moment you do, the moment you refuse to settle for less, the moment you stop accepting what doesn't serve you, that's when everything changes. That's when you start teaching others to treat you the way you deserve. Not everyone deserves your kindness. Along the way, you were taught that kindness should be freely given to everyone, that no matter what, you should always be good to people. Always forgiving, always understanding. You were told that if you just keep being kind, people will eventually appreciate it, see your heart, and change. But that's not how the world works. Not everyone deserves your kindness. There are people out there who will take advantage of your good heart, who will see your kindness as a weakness, who will take everything you have to give and leave you feeling empty. If you keep giving without limits, if you keep believing that everyone deserves your love, patience, and time, you will find yourself exhausted, broken, and wondering why no one ever gives the same in return. You must understand this. Kindness is precious, but it shouldn't be wasted on those who don't appreciate it. Think about the people in your life. Are there people who only come to you when they need something? People who take and take but never give? People who never check in on you, never ask how you're doing, never care how they are affecting you? And yet you keep showing up for them. You keep giving, hoping that if you just love them enough, support them enough, prove that you're a good person, they will see your worth. But they won't. People do not value what is given too easily. They do not respect what is always available. They don't cherish what they didn't have to work for. You've been pouring your kindness into people who don't deserve it, and it's breaking you. It's wearing you out. It's making you doubt yourself. And the longer you do this, the more you will lose yourself. So let me tell you something you need to hear. Not everyone deserves your kindness. Not everyone deserves your time. Not everyone should have access to you. You do not owe your kindness to those who disrespect you. You do not owe your patience to those who constantly disappoint you. You do not owe your love to people who don't care about the consequences of their actions. I know this may sound harsh, and I know it feels wrong, because you were taught that kindness should be given without conditions. But the truth is, kindness without wisdom is self-destruction. If you keep giving to those who only take, you will run out of love for yourself. If you keep forgiving those who don't change, you will teach them they never have to. If you keep making excuses for people who treat you badly, you will become a prisoner to relationships that drain you instead of lift you up. You need to stop. You need to protect your kindness. You need to start reserving it for people who truly deserve it. Those who value you, respect you, and love you the way you love them. When you stop wasting your kindness on those who don't deserve it, something incredible happens. You finally have the energy to give to those who do. You finally see who truly matters. You finally understand that kindness is a gift, not a duty. The moment you start protecting your kindness, the moment you stop allowing just anyone to have access to your heart, that is the moment you take back your power. That's when you realize your worth. That's when you start living for yourself, not for people who never deserved you in the first place. Kindness must be balanced with self-respect. You were taught that kindness is one of the greatest virtues, that being good to others is the right thing to do. You were told that if you are patient, forgiving, and understanding, the world will reward you. People will recognize your goodness and treat you with the same warmth and generosity that you give so freely. But what happens when that kindness is not returned? What happens when your patience is mistaken for weakness? What happens when your understanding is taken for granted? What happens when you give and give until you have nothing left, only to realize that no one was ever going to give back to you? Here's the truth you were never told. Kindness without self-respect is self-destruction. You cannot keep pouring from an empty cup. You cannot keep giving your energy, love, and time to people who do not appreciate it, respect it, and who do not deserve it. You cannot keep believing that if you just hold on a little longer, if you just keep being kind, things will change. Because kindness is not enough. Kindness without boundaries allows people to walk all over you. Kindness without self-respect allows people to take advantage of you. Kindness without strength allows people to use you until there's nothing left. And the hardest part is this: the people who truly care about you will never require you to destroy yourself to prove your love. But those who don't, they will take everything. They will drain you of your kindness, patience, and love, and they will never feel guilty about it. You need to understand this. Your kindness should never come at the cost of your self-respect. If you keep allowing mistreatment, people will assume you are okay with it. If you keep forgiving those who never change, people will assume they never have to. If you keep showing up for people who would never do the same for you, people will assume you don't value yourself enough to demand better. That's why you must stop being kind to everyone. Because not everyone deserves it. Not everyone values it. Not everyone will appreciate the gift of your goodness. You must learn to say no. You must learn to walk away. You must understand that protecting yourself is not cruelty, it's survival. Being kind and being strong are not opposites. They must go hand in hand. True kindness is not about sacrificing yourself for others. True kindness is about knowing your worth and never settling for less than you deserve. True kindness is about giving, but only to those who respect and value your heart. True kindness is about balance, being good to others while still being good to yourself. So stop believing that kindness means letting people take advantage of you. Stop thinking that being a good person means allowing yourself to be mistreated. Stop assuming that love means self-sacrifice. You are worthy of more. You are worthy of love that doesn't hurt. You are worthy of respect that doesn't need to be begged for. You are worthy of relationships that don't drain you. The moment you start balancing your kindness with self-respect, The moment you stop letting the world take from you without giving back. That's when you take your power back. That's when you finally understand what it means to be kind without losing yourself. Kindness is a beautiful gift, but only when given wisely. If you offer it without boundaries, without self-respect, without discernment, it will be taken for granted, used against you, and leave you drained. The world doesn't reward blind kindness. It respects strength, self-worth, and the ability to walk away when necessary. Stop giving your kindness to those who don't deserve it. Protect your heart, set your standards, and remember this: true kindness is not about sacrificing yourself for others. It's about valuing yourself enough to choose who is worthy of your love, time, and energy.